Hi everybody, Sandra from sandralarkin.com.au. Today we have Josh Cobb from Steps with us today. Thanks Josh for coming along and joining me today. So Josh, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I'm very privileged that we get to work with real estate agents all around the world, helping them do better marketing, specifically when it comes to the internet. So we help them strategize how to win attention with the people who they want to engage as clients. So usually that's homeowners and investors, and we're very privileged that some of those agents are some of the top earners in this country specifically. So we're very lucky to do that.
So I'd love to know from your point of view, what challenges have you had recently that possibly nobody knows about that you've had to get through? It can be personally or it can be professionally.
Recently, so we're 2.5 years into the business now when we launched in October 2014. And lately a lot of travel. So I think last year I was on close to 150 flights or something. So that hasn't really slowed down. So lots of travel. And I've also got an 18-month-old son, as you know. So that balancing the travel and wanting to spend time, he's now at an age where he processes things a lot more, and as people with children would know, that at that point when they come running up to you when you walk in the door is probably the best feeling you'll ever have. So coming home is really nice. Going away is getting a lot harder. So that's probably, talking recent challenges, is spending time away from my little boy and my wife.
So from a male's perspective, how do you overcome that, and how do you balance being a father and running a business and flying all the time?
I am super lucky that I have a wife that doesn't make me feel bad about how much I work. I think, look, she's the calming influence on me. So she's an intensive care nurse. So when you look at the trusted professions in any industry, the nurses are right at the top. I think I've struck the jackpot. I feel like I have. So first of all, she doesn't make me feel bad about how much I work, and that is that helps make my job a lot easier in what I do, knowing that we've got each other's back. Second to that, I'm pretty lucky. We've got a really close family group, and we're all pretty close geographically, not just spiritually, but so they're pretty close. So when we do need a little bit of help, whether it's if I'm traveling and Tatum, my wife, is working, we have a pretty close family group that we're very fortunate that and very lucky that we've got some help to look after our little guy.
What is success to you? To everybody, it's very different. How do you define success, and what is it to you?
Oh gosh, I think it's hard to define. I think for each person, I like to think of it as freedom, and freedom to make personal choices and professional choices. So I think on the professional side first, I think it's the freedom to enjoy the work that you do and not feel pressured and all the stresses that come with working for someone you don't like, doing a job you don't like. That's not freedom. So I think success in a professional sense is feeling like the work that you're doing is something you enjoy first and foremost. Secondly, I think the freedom to on the personal side, the freedom to make the decisions for your family of when you travel, where do you travel to, the holidays you take, the people that you associate with. So I think success is freedom financially, professionally, and personally. I think they're three separate things. And I think it's which one do you put more weight into will define, I guess, who you are as a person, I feel. And I think freedom is also or success is also surrounding yourself with people that you want to. And when you talk about life by design, working with people you don't like is draining. So I think the freedom to make those choices as well is pretty powerful.
What habits and behaviours do you do consistently every day to contribute to your success? Is there anything, if there is anything?
Sure. Look, professionally, learning, constant learning. I am addicted to information and learning. So on a professional note, I listen to at least 2 to 3 podcasts a day, whether that's in the office very early in the morning, or if it's out on a run or mowing the lawn. I'm constantly feeding that into my earbuds through information and content and constant learning and just a I passionately enjoy that.
If you had the opportunity to spend 1 hour or one day with a famous person or a very influential person, who would that be?
I had to think really hard about this question because I knew you were going to ask me this. All I could come up with is right now, at my point in where I am professionally and personally, is a gentleman by the name of Michael Gerber, who's an author. Many will have read the book The E-Myth, and Michael just has this fascinating way of simplifying really complex challenges in business and in life. And I think that's another thing that I'm really passionate about is reading, and his book, The E-Myth, is more relevant to me now than when I started the company 2.5 years ago.
And talking about balance with your family life and your work life, what is it that Josh Cobb does every day for himself? Because I really believe we need to do something for ourselves to go out into the day and be everything for everybody else.
If I had to be completely honest and transparent, it's probably something I'm not doing enough of, which is knowing when to turn off. So I love what I do professionally, and I love what I do personally, but I think I'm at a point now where it's very hard sometimes to switch off and just turn everything off. And I do when I'm not traveling and I'm not in the office. I'm probably working at home a little bit as well. And so being able to detach is something I need to do more of that. So from a personal level, something that I do every day is make sure as much as I can right now, where I'm at right now, is to spend as much time with Leo, our little guy.
Beautiful.
So that gets me motivated as to the reason why I'm about to go and turn that computer on or make that phone call or have that meeting is, for me right now, he's my motivation to do. So I think spending time with him first thing in the morning gets me pretty pumped up. Yeah.
I think family is definitely something that keeps you going and keeps you motivated to do what you do every day.
And I think a lot of people talk about knowing your why, and I think that phrase gets talked about, I think, ad nauseum sometimes. If you haven't figured it out now, it's time to get cracking on. Since he was born, he's been the number one reason why I do what I do professionally and personally. So, on the personal side, to be able to finish an 11-hour triathlon and run over the finish line and see him there, he's the reason. That keeps me motivated. On a professional side, doing some really great work and being rewarded for that with our business. Again, it comes back to that as well. So.
And I think too, if you haven't got time as a parent to meditate or do exercise, spending time with your children is actually a great way of keeping yourself totally present. If I could ask you to give one bit of advice or tip to the audience watching this right now, what would that be?
If anything I've learned in the last probably 3 years, I have probably had the three most rewarding years of my life, professionally and personally. Starting a business, having that freedom to choose who I work with, where I travel, where I work, and on the other side, having our son. If it's anything I've learned is that you're the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with, and I have deliberately and systematically chosen to align myself with some pretty amazing people, you being one of those.
Thank you.
So I think if you surround yourself with good people, good stuff happens. And it's very difficult to have fun and smile when you're around some people that just want to drain you. So I've made a conscious decision, and that's not only personally but professionally. There's a lot of people who we could have worked with, and some pretty notable names in our industry. Who we're just not a good fit. We're just not aligned philosophically or on a spiritual level. It's not that they weren't going to pay us. It was just that we just weren't a good fit. So I think you're the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with.
Thank you very much, Josh. It was really lovely.
My
really
pleasure.
great to have you on.
Anytime.
Mwah.